effect.
Well, Max, I don't disagree with you. I actually like that Bogdanovich to Atlanta. I think him and Trae Young might be the best scoring backcourt in the league this year. But when you think about when you think about the biggest free agency, the biggest free agent, who had the biggest free agent signing, you can think of one city, the Los Angeles. And when you think of Los Angeles, you think of one movie comes to mind, Friday. And guess what? Rob Pelinka was Debo, and Lawrence Frank was Red. And Rob Pelinka walked up on Lawrence Frank and said, "What you got on my 40, homie?"
Fucking that
and
chain.
Lawrence Frank was like, "Well, what you mean? Well, what you mean? Well, what you mean? What you mean, Rob? What you mean? I don't want no problems. I told you about selling these CDs and shirts on my corner. Now I'm going to take your sixth man of the year, your second most consistent player, and I'm going to take him to the Lakers and let you know that we still run this town." And Max, don't give me about this upgrade of Serge Ibaka is better than Montrezl Harrell, because Montrezl Harrell is top 10 in the league at protecting the basket when opponents try him at the rim. He's 6th in the league at offensive putbacks. He's one of the best choice takers in the game today. Offensively, he's a guy that can create on his own and get buckets, and he plays with a tenacity that reminds me of a Kevin Garnett. So I'm looking at what Rob Pelinka done, and he straight Debo'd the Los Angeles Clippers and let them know that the Lakers still run this town. So we go take Montrezl Harrell, we go kick y'all out of the Staples Center, and while y'all leaving, make sure you leave this flat screen, that 75-inch that's hanging on the wall. We go take y'all sixth man of the year. That's who won. That's the biggest free agent signing.
That's a great analogy. That is a great analogy, but as we used to say back in the day, a whack point, Perk. What are you talking about? Montrezl Harrell's the biggest. Listen, they took Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. Like, Montrezl Harrell it's an upgrade there, but he's going to serve a very similar function. Meantime, the Clippers also upgraded, going from Montrezl Harrell to Serge Ibaka, who can also defend, is also versatile that way, and can stretch the floor. It's not knocking Montrezl Harrell. He's a nice player. By the way, what they wound up paying him, mid-level exception, right? Like, why do you think he's slot into that slot? He's a nice player. I like Montrezl Harrell. I'm not to put the biggest of the offseason. Wasn't even the biggest on the team. The Schroeder deal was bigger than the Montrezl Harrell deal.
But because the Lakers got him for so low, when he did have an offer on the table for $80 million, and the Lakers convinced him to come over there and take $9 million, that's the biggest win. And take him from your crosstown rival. Yeah, Montrezl Harrell is the biggest win. And look, I get Serge Ibaka can stretch the floor, but now you have Montrezl Harrell, who's a dynamic roller, who's a lob threat at the basket. Now he's going to open up the lanes and open up the shooting and spacing for Anthony Davis. I love the pick, and I'm telling you, everybody need to watch out, because with Montrezl Harrell and Anthony Davis in that front court, it's going to be a problem. Pick your poison.
Hold on. Montrezl Harrell is the second biggest move for the Lakers of the offseason. The Schroeder move was bigger. Losing Rondo, which is a blow for sure, but then getting Schroeder in there is a bigger move than Montrezl Harrell.
First of all, Max, the question was, what was the biggest signing, not the biggest move. Schroeder was traded there. Dennis Schroeder was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. So we said signing. And I said the Los Angeles had the biggest signing when they signed Montrezl and convinced him to come play on this team. When he had a choice to go make $80 million for another team, I think it was the Hornets, and he chose to come play against
the Hornets for $80 million
and leave the Clippers. I know that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why the Lakers
if he had $80 million for the Hornets,
time.
he should have gone to the Hornets. But I'm not talking about what's the most impressive feat in terms of tricking a guy into turning down money or convincing him into turning down money. Dude, that's not even the biggest power forward signing in Los Angeles. The Montrezl Harrell signing is neither the biggest move of the offseason for the Lakers nor the biggest power forward signing in Los Angeles, which would be Serge Ibaka.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You can't.
Perk,
you can't
what?
tell me that a guy
Perk,
that
hold
just
this out.
Max, you
Hold
cannot
this
sit
out,
up
Perk.
here and
Just hold
argue.
this.
You can.
Take this.
You cannot sit up here and argue with me
You
and
give it
tell
back to
me
me
a
some
guy
later
that
date.
just came off of winning the Sixth Man of the Year is not a big signing, man. He averaged 19 points a game on 55% shooting. We're talking about a Sixth Man of the Year. We was
It's a nice
talking about
signing.
maybe putting Montrezl. We was talking about even Montrezl Harrell last year possibly being in the All-Star game. So no, Serge Ibaka is not the biggest signing in the LA. It's Montrezl Harrell. He's the biggest signing in
Serge
the
Ibaka
NBA.
can defend too, only he can
the
shoot
Lakers
also.
won. So
Serge
can
Ibaka
Montrezl.
can not only defend, he's still an excellent defender, but he can also shoot. That's something that Montrezl Harrell can't do.
Yeah,
and by the way, the Lakers did. They improved marginally over Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, right? They have Montrezl Harrell and Marc Gasol, which I think is an improvement over JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. A marginal improvement.
All right, and guys, don't forget James Harden, he wants out of Houston. So should he go to Brooklyn like he wants? We could have a whole lot of different answers to this conversation. All right, we have to leave it there, though. Kendrick, we will be back with you. And he wants no disrespect on the turkey, ladies and gentlemen. I just had the conversation with him. No more disrespecting the turkey. We got more First Take on the way. Keep it locked.
Well, they are number one, obviously. Two MVP caliber players on the same team. And you could even argue the 1 and 2 players in the game at the moment on the same team. They're historically great. They match up. You can match them up against the greatest combos of all time, and they would hold their own. And we saw that Jokic and Murray were not a match for them. I'm not going to take Jokic and Murray for that reason. But I am going to take two guys off a team that I said was I think the second best team in the West this season, and that's the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to take Doncic and Porzingis. And I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm going to start with Porzingis. Don't think about Porzingis as you've seen him recently, because he's trending in the right direction. Think of him on the Knicks, right? When we last saw him on the Knicks before the injury, he was averaging around 23 points. He was shooting a lot from three and shooting around 40% from three. And he was blocking like 2.5 shots per game. He could defend in space for a guy his size especially. He can defend the rim. He was a defensive game changer. He would come in the game, the entire offense of the other team would immediately change. He just makes the other offense much less effective. In fact, I thought of him back then as primarily, his primary value was on defense. But then he was giving you 23 points a game and trending toward more. He looked to me like he was going to win an MVP in his career. He looked like that type of player to me. So he's a unicorn. He's, picture Kareem with 2 inches more in height, but he can shoot the three. Not that he's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but you get this point. Like, think of one of these really, really tall guys. Now give him 2 inches more in height, make him like a real good defender for the modern game, and let him shoot the three. That was Porzingis. Now, he got hurt, catastrophic injury. It takes a while to get back, not only on the court, but then to get back to where you were. I still don't think that he is where he was at the time of the injury originally. He got another procedure on his knee. They're going to be very careful with him. He's going to miss like the first month or something like that. But presuming he gets back not only to where he was, but on his upward trajectory, he's a monster. And he's not even the best player on the team. The best player on the team is Luka Doncic, who I believe will win the MVP this year. The dude almost averaged a triple-double with 30 points for a winning team. He was a monster in the playoffs. And by the way, there is room for improvement. Yes, on the defensive end, but even on the offensive end, he can shoot the three better than that. You can see his form and see he's going to be able to shoot the three better than that, but he took a ton of game, and by the way, was only hitting about under 32% of them. What happens when he starts to hit 34 and 35% of them? You know what's going to happen? What I just said, 30-plus points with a triple-double. Only, unlike Harden early in his career, Perk, he has shown the ability to elevate his play in the playoffs. I think Doncic is an MVP player, or certainly an MVP caliber player. He's that already. And I think Porzingis is much closer to that than people realize. They also both have real size. There's no LeBron or AD. I think those two will come closest this season.
Well, you're wrong, Max, and it's not even close. After LeBron and AD is Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. We talking about two of the most skilled athletes to ever touch the damn basketball. And it's not even a debate. When you look at Kevin Durant, He's the best scorer of all time. 0 flaws offensively. An underrated defender. He is going to come back on the tear. I told you this once before that he missed a year and a half of basketball. For KD, that's torture. And he cannot wait to get back on the court. And then you add Kyrie Irving, one of the best, if not the best ball handler, the best below the basket finisher that this game has ever laid its eyes on. Comparing those two up on the same team, they're going to be an offensive. It's going to be a masterpiece what they're going to be doing offensively. And you look at Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, both of those guys are capable of winning the MVP this year. One or the other. It could be Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. If Kyrie Irving's mind is right, he's one of the best point guards in the game today, if not the best point guard. So you have two guys that cannot be guarded one-on-one, that cannot be guarded by a double team. Two of guys that are the most skilled to ever play the game. One of them is the best scorer to ever touch the basketball. That is the second best duo behind LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And it's not even in the debate. Look, no disrespect to Luka. I'm a huge fan of Luka. But KP is not healthy, so he won't be starting the season. We don't know how he's going to come back. Like you always say, almost always, if a guy have three surgeries on his knees at 7'2", he might not come back the same way. So we don't know how KP is going to come back. But we do know that at the start of the season, we're going to see Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So I know that much.